They were the most dysfunctional, successful team of all time.
Bryant to Shaq!
The story of the Los Angeles Lakers during the Shaq and Kobe era was a fascinating clash of egos, filled with insults, media wars, and physical altercations. And despite wanting to kill each other half the time, Shaq and Kobe made it work on the court, with 4 finals appearances and 3 NBA championships. But how good were Shaq and Kobe's Lakers actually? Before Shaq and Kobe became teammates, the LA Lakers were stuck in mediocrity. Since Magic Johnson retired in 1991, the Lakers won only 1 playoff series in the next 5 years, lacking the very thing that used to define them: superstars. Even though the 1995-96 team won 53 games and had some solid players, none of them was a true number 1 option that could lead the team to a championship. After a quick and painful exit in the first round of the 96 playoffs,
Houston takes out Los Angeles 3-1.
The president of basketball operations, Jerry West, knew that he needed to make a big splash. And 3 days before the Lakers ended their season, a brash 17-year-old high school kid held one of the most famous press conferences in basketball history.
Kobe Bryant have decided to take my talent to I have decided to skip college and take my talent to the NBA.
At the time, Jerry West didn't know much about Bryant, despite Kobe being the best high school player in the country and scoring a $48 million endorsement deal with Adidas. But when Kobe worked out for the Lakers and destroyed former Defensive Player of the Year Michael Cooper, Jerry West quickly realized what all the other general managers didn't: that Kobe was the best player in a stacked 96 draft.
To watch him work out, it was like ridiculous, okay? I mean, like a man playing against kindergarten people. That's how advanced he was. He was versatile, but he was a furious, ferocious defender. That's all he did. He wanted to compete. He was just a natural player who, when he was born, there was a heck of a lot of gold dust sprinkled on his skin. And he did not disappoint. He played every night. You didn't have to ask him to play hard.
But the Lakers only had the 24th pick, and West knew he needed to move up in the draft to get Kobe. So he agreed to trade the beloved big man Vlade Divac to Charlotte, who had the 13th overall pick.
The Charlotte Hornets select Kobe Bryant from Lower Merion High School in Pennsylvania.
And after he got Kobe, West knew that he had an ace up his sleeve to negotiate with the biggest free agent on the market, Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq was never supposed to become available, and all that the Orlando Magic had to do was to give him a $115 million maximum extension. But the Magic decided to lowball O'Neal, offering him a measly $54 million, explaining how they needed to save money to keep Penny Hardaway. On top of that, the Orlando Sentinel organized a poll where 91% of their readers voted that Shaq didn't deserve a max extension. After those 2 insults from his team and the city, O'Neal had made up his mind. Even though the Magic eventually offered him $115 million, it was too late. So Jerry West swooped in and offered Shaq the biggest contract in basketball history at the time, $120 million over 7 years. The money and the lure of Hollywood were an offer that Shaq couldn't refuse. And because West also drafted Derek Fisher with the 24th pick, the 1996 offseason was arguably the greatest yield for any general manager in NBA history. But even though everything looked good on paper, in reality, things weren't as peachy. At the start of training camp, everybody had to introduce themselves. And it was Kobe's turn. He said this: "Yo, I'm Kobe Bryant. I'm from PA. I went to Lower Merion High School and dominated everything. I just want y'all to know, nobody's gonna punk me. I'm not gonna let anyone in the NBA punk me, so be warned." Clearly, he was no ordinary rookie. But when the season started, Kobe was coming off the bench, mainly because he wasn't willing to give up the ball, ever. O'Neal nicknamed Kobe Showboat, and even though there were no major problems between them, you could see that their chemistry wasn't ideal. On November 17th, after Bryant scored a career-high 16 points, Shaq complained to Kobe that he wasn't giving him the ball, to which Kobe calmly said, "Get it off the rebound if I miss, bro." Bryant was arrogant and he was selfish, often dribbling into double teams and taking impossible shots. On top of that, he was standoffish, not trying to socialize with his teammates off the court, which distanced him from everybody and caused coach Del Harris to play him only 15 minutes per game. But even though Shaq and Eddie Jones made the All-Star team, Kobe was the main attraction at the 1997 All-Star Weekend, winning the dunk contest.
Oh, between the legs, Kobe Bryant!
and leading all players in scoring at the rookie-sophomore game. However, despite Kobe's youth and Shaq missing 31 games due to injury, the Lakers still won 56 games and finished with the 4th seed in the West. They easily dispatched the Blazers in the first round, behind 33 points and 9 rebounds per game from O'Neal. But in the second round, Shaq was slowed down by Utah's big men Greg Ostertag and Karl Malone, and he only averaged 22 points in the series. After 4 games, Utah had a 3-1 lead, but in Game 5, the Lakers had a chance to win and extend the series. And then, with 2 minutes left, Shaq fouled out, and the Lakers needed somebody to step up.
Here comes, he just fouled out Malone, and O'Neal is gone, unless they give it to Thurston. He just fouled out.
In the final possession, with the game tied, Kobe took the ball and fired an air ball.
Kobe Bryant will take it. An 18-year-old rookie, short.
So the game went into overtime. In the extra period, Bryant had 3 more shots that could have turned the game in the Lakers' favor, but all 3 didn't even touch the rim.
A chance if it gets close to foul. Bryant for the tie. Another air ball.
There probably wasn't a single game in NBA history where a team shot 4 air balls in the clutch moments of a playoff game. But Kobe had ultimate belief in himself, and he showed zero regret in missing those shots that ended the Lakers' season. And even though the rest of the team was pissed at him, Shaq gave Bryant a big hug and provided words of encouragement.
And that's why in the Utah game, everybody talks about those air balls. I wasn't mad at you. And that's why I was the first one to come grab you and say, hey, I know everybody's laughing and giggling out, but one day people will fear you at the end of the game.
In the offseason, Kobe worked tirelessly to add strength, reporting to camp 10 pounds heavier, and it was pure muscle. The Lakers also signed small forward Rick Fox along with Robert Horry, who joined the team a few months earlier. The Lakers had a well-rounded squad that aimed to go all the way. LA started the season with 11 straight wins, but then they lost Shaq to an abdominal injury who missed 20 games. In Shaq's absence, Kobe was trying to take over games, and it was most notable against the Bulls and his idol Michael Jordan. Even though he was still a teenager coming off the bench, Bryant had a memorable game, going bucket for bucket with the greatest player in the game and showing no fear whatsoever.
Kobe has sent a message to everyone else that he is the future.
Jordan finished the game with 36 points, but Bryant wasn't far behind with 33. When Shaq returned, LA continued to win, and they had 4 players selected to the All-Star game: O'Neal, Jones, Van Exel, and Bryant, who was voted as a starter by the fans despite not starting on his own team. Kobe thus became the youngest player ever to start in an All-Star game, and to this day, he's the only teenage All-Star in history.
He's the youngest starter in NBA All-Star Game history. At guard from the Los Angeles Lakers, Kobe Bryant!
In 1998, Kobe averaged 15 points per game in 26 minutes off the bench and finished second in voting for 6th Man of the Year, while Shaq averaged 28 points and 11 rebounds, finishing 4th in the MVP voting. The Lakers ended the regular season with 61 wins, just 1 win shy of the best record in the NBA. They got past the Blazers and the Sonics without major issues, losing just 2 games on their way to the conference finals against Utah. But against the Jazz, problems emerged. With Stockton and Malone, Utah had the best pick-and-roll duo in the NBA, which didn't bode well for O'Neal, who wasn't a very good pick-and-roll defender and had trouble guarding Malone outside the paint. The mailman destroyed the Lakers with 30 points per game in the series, and even though Shaq averaged 32, the rest of his teammates shot the ball horribly, especially Bryant and Van Exel, who combined for 18 points and just 29% from the field. The Jazz took a 3-0 lead, and before Game 4, Nick Van Exel ended the practice by saying, 1, 2, 3, Cancun, clearly showing that he didn't believe the Lakers could turn it around, to the disgust of his teammates. And even though he was right, and Utah ended up sweeping LA,
and that's the final horn, and the sweep is complete. The Utah Jazz are returning to the NBA Finals.
Shaq came to Jerry West's office demanding that Van Exel get traded. West was sickened by Van Exel's words, and he quickly obliged, trading his all-star point guard for Ty Lue and Tony Battie. It was one of the last trades in the NBA that could have gone through, because on July 1st, 1998, the NBA entered a lockout following a dispute over a collective bargaining agreement. This cut the regular season to just 50 games, but before Before play resumed in February, the players kept in shape by organizing pickup games. And during these games, the two Lakers superstars had their first big fight. By that time, O'Neal was not a fan of Kobe. Shaq was tired of the selfish play and missed shots in the conference finals, and was jealous of Bryant's growing superstardom. Shaq had just lost his Reebok deal and was dealing with legal issues, all while Kobe was viewed as a PR darling, scoring endorsements with Adidas, Spalding, Sprite, and even his own Nintendo game. This was supposed to be Shaq's team. He was the best player on the Lakers, and he expected Kobe to treat him like a big brother. But Kobe had no interest in being anybody's little brother. He was interested in dominating and becoming the best player in the world. He didn't care about being Shaq's friend, rejecting numerous opportunities to hang out with the big fella, which didn't sit well with Shaq, who wasn't used to getting rejected by anybody. So when the duo played in one of those off-season pickup games, the tension was palpable.
I think I can remember the first time we had our first fight, and you looked and said, okay, this is crazy. We were playing a pickup game. We were doing a lockout season, Southwest College, playing a pickup game. We're on opposite teams, right, and trash talking.
Yes.
And you kept saying, yeah, take that little. I'm like, I'm looking around. Oh, me.
Yes.
I said, oh, hold on. Ain't gonna be too many more of those little, you know.
Yeah, I remember that.
And what you said? Well, what you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? The next thing I knew, I saw a big hand coming this way. And I remember going this way. And I remember throwing some lollipop. The Polynese came and caught. And then they all just kind of broke us apart, broke us up.
When the season finally started, the Lakers were a mess. Shaq and Kobe hated each other, and neither respected coach Del Harris. Even though Harris was an excellent X's and O coach, he didn't connect with his team on a personal level and couldn't deal with the turmoil between his two superstars. Kobe hated Harris for not giving him more playing time and trusting him with the ball. Shaq hated Harris for babying Kobe. After 12 games and a 6-6 record, it was clear that something had to change, and Jerry West was forced to fire Del Harris.
We're not going in the right direction. We felt a coaching change was necessary.
Kurt Rambis was promoted from the assistant to the head coach, but it soon became obvious that Rambis was not the guy who would get the Lakers on the same accord. And then, in a desperate attempt to give the team a jolt of energy, the Lakers signed Dennis Rodman, which was like adding gasoline to the fire. Rodman was 8 months removed from his last game with the Bulls, and he spent the lockout smoking and drinking and partying with his new wife, Carmen Electra. Then, in his introductory press conference, Rodman burst into tears, showing what kind of an emotional wreck he was. Still, the owner, Jerry Buss, insisted on his signing. And when he joined the team, Dennis was perpetually late to everything, still reeking of cigarettes and alcohol, not showering after games, and sometimes even wearing women's dresses. But against all odds, the Lakers started winning games. With Rodman playing, LA had a 17-6 record, and the Worm dominated the boards, as always, averaging 11 rebounds per game despite playing just 28 minutes on average. Other than Rodman, the Lakers traded Eddie Jones for three-time All-Star Glenn Rice, which was another colossal mistake. Even though Rice was averaging 17 points per game and was a better shooter than Jones, he was useless without the ball and a horrible defender, reporting to the Lakers 30 pounds heavier than he was during his All-Star years in Charlotte. On April 16th, with 10 games to go in the regular season, growing tired of his antics, the Lakers released Dennis Rodman, who ended up only playing 23 games for the team. LA finished the season with a 31-19 record, which was good enough for the 4th seed in the West. They defeated the old and equally dysfunctional Rockets team in the first round.
Takes it into the lane, kicks it out to Kobe, and there's your exclamation point. The Rockets asked for time, and the Lakers apparently are headed for San Antonio.
But in the second round, they got swept by Tim Duncan and the Spurs, which surprised nobody. After 3 years of Shaq and Kobe, the best they did was getting swept in the conference finals, and the clock was ticking. Something needed to be done, fast. Otherwise, either Shaq or Kobe would be gone.
What does the future hold for the Lakers and for Kurt Rambis?
When the season was over, O'Neal demanded a coaching change, saying that Kurt Rambis was a Kobe guy and couldn't play for him anymore. The only guy who was on the market and had the expertise and the credentials to guide the Lakers to victory was Phil Jackson. But there was a problem. Jerry West, the guy who was supposed to hire a new coach, hated Phil Jackson's guts. During the 1972 finals, while they were both still active players, Jackson elbowed Jerry West in the head and broke his nose. And this happened after the game was over. Moreover, West was good friends with Jerry Krause, the general manager of the Bulls, who also had a fallout with Phil, and West trusted Krause's judgment. Jackson also openly criticized the Lakers through the media during the 1999 season, while taking a sabbatical from the NBA. So, when other people in the Lakers management asked West about hiring Phil, he simply said, "F Phil Jackson." But both Kobe and Shaq loved Phil and wanted him to coach the team. So Jerry West sucked up his pride and hired Jackson for a then-record coach salary of $6 million, plus a $2 million bonus for each NBA championship.
Without further ado, the new coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, Phil Jackson.
Both Kobe and Shaq met with Phil before the season started, and the results were obvious. Shaq reported to training camp in the best shape of his life because Jackson told him to lose 15 pounds in the offseason. With Kobe, Jackson took a firm stand and proclaimed that this was Shaq's team and that Kobe had to be the second option, otherwise he would be traded. Bryant was less than thrilled, but was forced to accept the situation. To enhance the team chemistry, Phil signed veterans Ron Harper, Brian Shaw, and John Salley, whose impact on the team was obvious from day one, and they served as intermediaries between Shaq and Kobe. And maybe the most important change that Phil brought was his triangle offense. However, the implementation was hard at first, especially for Kobe and Glenn Rice, who were isolation scorers their whole life. And because Kobe could beat almost any defender one-on-one, during the preseason he would often abolish the triangle, ignore the open teammates, and attack. But then Bryant got hurt, which was a blessing in disguise. Out of the action for a month, Kobe watched his team play and win without him. The Lakers started the season 12-4, and when Kobe returned, he was forced to get with the program and try to fit in. In the next 21 games, the Lakers won 20, sitting at the top of the standings with a 31-5 record. But as always, there was drama. Phil Jackson started dating Jeannie Buss, the owner's daughter, which didn't sit well with Jerry West, who openly beefed with Jackson on numerous occasions. Glenn Rice was unhappy with a lack of shots, and so was Kobe, who would still go rogue at times, which then, of course, frustrated Shaq. The Lakers were the least happy 31-5 team in the history of the NBA, after which Jackson called Michael Jordan in order to talk to Kobe and attempt to calm him down.
I had the team, was still probably 99 when I'm coaching the Lakers. Michael's out, he's been retired for a year, and he comes to a ball game and I said, let's meet in chairman's room after the game. I want you to talk to Kobe a little bit. He tends to take over a game, at a certain time in the game. And I think that, if you convince him to just wait, just be patient, allow the game to kind of come to him when it's necessary for him to do some things, because the team kind of loses their offensive direction. So I get in this room and he sits down and he goes, first thing Kobe says is, I could kick one-on-one.
At that moment, if the rest of the Lakers had the power to trade Bryant, he would have been gone in a second, as nobody liked him, and he knew it. "My teammates hate me," Kobe complained to Jerry West. "If I was your teammate, I'd hate you too," West replied. Bryant always had the ability to be objective about himself, and after that, he finally started to play team basketball. The Lakers kept winning games, and towards the end of the season, they truly came together as a team. After Kobe got into an on-court scuffle with Chris Childs, all the Lakers stood up in his defense, and what was a real bonding moment for Bryant and his teammates. LA finished the season with 67 wins and just 15 losses, which was, at the time, the 6th best regular season record ever. With 29.7 points per game on 57% shooting, Shaq led the NBA in scoring and field goal percentage, along with 13.6 rebounds and a career-high 3.8 assists. Shaq was one vote shy of becoming the first unanimous MVP in league history. And on top of everything, he played the best defense of his life, finishing second in voting for Defensive Player of the Year. Kobe was averaging 22.5 points, which was then also a career high for him, and he made the second All-NBA team and first-team All-Defense. The Lakers were firing on all cylinders, but the playoffs weren't a walk in the park. In the first round, the Kings pushed the Lakers to a deciding Game 5, where LA ultimately triumphed behind 56 combined points from O'Neal and Bryant. In the second round, the Suns also fell in 5 games, and then the Lakers took a 3-1 lead in the conference finals against Portland, and their finals berth seemed almost certain. But then, Portland bounced back with 2 consecutive wins, forcing a Game 7. And in that deciding game, nothing was working for the Lakers. Shaq was struggling against the 7'4" Arvydas Sabonis, Pippen held Kobe in check, and with 10 minutes left to play, the Lakers were staring at a 15-point deficit. But then Sabonis picked up his 5th foul.
Deep to Shaq. Sabonis apparently fouled him. That's 5 on Sabonis.
The Blazers kept missing shots, and the Lakers got back in the game. LA took the lead with 2 minutes to go.
O'Neal. The Lakers took the lead.
And in the final minute, they had a 4-point lead and the ball, after which a legendary moment happened between Kobe and Shaq.
Bryant to Shaq!
The Lakers survived the most dangerous team in the playoffs, and now they had to face the Indiana Pacers in the finals, which was almost anticlimactic. The Pacers were a good, scrappy team, but the Lakers were simply better. LA took a swift 2-0 lead, but that second victory came with a hefty price when Jalen Rose deliberately planted his foot under Kobe, who twisted his ankle and was ruled out of Game 3.
Looks like he sprained his ankle when Kobe came down. He's on the floor.
Indiana won that game, and in Game 4 they were on the brink of winning another one when Shaq fouled out in overtime.
Shaw grabs the rebound.
That's a loose ball foul on Shaq. That'll be number 6. What a big play.
That's it.
But then, Kobe, who was still nursing a bad ankle, took matters into his own hands. He finally had the chance to show that he was the guy, and he passed the test with flying colors.
Here he is over Jackson. How good is this kid?
Bryant made 4 of his 5 shots in overtime, including a game-winning tip-in with 5 seconds to go.
Shaw, running one-hander, followed in by Kobe Bryant.
And even though Indiana won another game and extended the series, in Game 6, Shaq came in for his finals MVP. With 41 points and 12 rebounds, O'Neal was unstoppable, leading the Lakers to victory and the championship, with Kobe jumping into his arms as the final buzzer sounded.
And the Lakers are the 2000 NBA champions.
For the series, Shaq averaged an unreal 38 points, 16.7 rebounds, and 2.7 blocks, proving that he was the best player on the planet. And in Shaq's mind, that was enough. He spent the entire summer partying, drinking, and putting on weight. At the same time, Kobe kept working on his technique and getting stronger. And when the next season started, Jerry West left the team, John Sally retired, AC Green signed with Miami, and Glenn Rice was traded to New York for Horace Grant. The Lakers signed J.R. Ryder, who smoked a lot of weed, and was maybe more mentally unstable than Dennis Rodman, if that was even possible, but wasn't half as good of a player. To make things worse, Derek Fisher suffered a foot fracture and was out for 4 months. With key vets gone, the usual troubles showed their ugly heads. The Kobe and Shaq beef continued stronger than ever. Kobe believed Shaq was fat and lazy, while Shaq thought Kobe was a selfish brat who didn't want to be part of the team. And to an extent, both players were correct, but them publicly saying it didn't help anybody, especially after the media got involved and kept the beef running 24/7. The Lakers were a walking circus, and they had a winning record simply because they were more talented than most teams. But for them to win in the playoffs, something had to click, and it did, in the form of Derek Fisher, who returned after missing 62 games. Fisher wasn't much of a scorer, but he was strong as a rock and steady as they come. He loved to share the ball, he was a great defender, and his tremendous leadership skills served as the buffer between Shaq and Kobe. With Fish in the lineup, the Lakers finished the season on an 8-game win streak, peaking at the right time, just before the postseason. And when the playoffs started, the Lakers were unstoppable. They swept the Blazers and the Kings, and in the conference finals against the Spurs, Kobe led LA to victories with 45 points in Game 1 and 28 in Game 2. It's easy when you have Kobe Bryant, the best player in the world, O'Neal said after going up 2-0.
I don't know what else to say. I think he's the best player in the league. By far.
The relationship between the two was at an all-time high, and the Lakers were essentially unbeatable as they won Games 3 and 4 by a combined 68 points. In the finals, the Lakers played the mediocre Philadelphia 76ers team, who had a bunch of great defenders, and Allen Iverson as the single offensive threat. Still, in Game 1, Iverson played one of the best games in NBA playoff history, scoring 48 points and leading the Sixers to an upset. But that was all he could do, as Kobe and Shaq were simply too good, winning the next 4 games and repeating as NBA champions.
And the Los Angeles Lakers will make it a second straight NBA crown.
For the playoffs, Shaq averaged 30, 15, and 3, while Kobe added 29, 7, and 6, which couldn't be matched by anybody. And the Lakers' 15-1 record was the best postseason result ever at the time. After the finals, Shaq followed with his usual pattern of eating, drinking, and partying. Kobe, of course, spent the summer in the gym, reporting to the camp better than ever, physically close to his absolute prime, and his basketball skill fully blossomed. Plus, with the core of the team virtually unchanged, the Lakers had stability and were now running the triangle offense to perfection. Even though Bryant was more aggressive than ever, having a fistfight with teammate Samaki Walker, and was ejected after a scuffle with Reggie Miller, he surprisingly didn't have many big quarrels with Shaq. Kobe was smart to realize that O'Neal was the most dominant player in the world, and for the most part, the superstar duo thrived playing off each other. Shaq averaged a team-leading 28.7 points per game with 12.7 rebounds and 3.7 assists, finishing third in the MVP voting. But this time, Kobe wasn't too far behind, with a career-high 28.5 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. The Lakers won 58 games and easily got past the Blazers and the Spurs to reach the conference finals.
The Lakers, the two-time defending NBA champions, are headed once again to the Western Conference Final Series.
But there they had to face the best team in the NBA, the Sacramento Kings. Led by 2 All-Stars in Chris Webber and sharpshooter Peja Stojakovic, the Kings played with the fastest pace in the league. They had 7 players scoring in double figures, and nobody could stop Sacramento's offense. It wasn't a surprise when the Kings took a 2-1 series lead, annihilating the Lakers in Game 3, leading by 26 points in the fourth quarter. The Lakers seemed to be in trouble, especially after falling behind 24 points in the second quarter of Game 4.
And the Kings now lead 48-24. They double up on the Lakers.
However, the Kings' lead started to dwindle.
Suddenly things turning in favor of the Lakers.
And with 11 seconds to go, they were up only 2. Bryant missed a potential game-tying shot, and so did Shaq, who botched the putback. All Vlade Divac had to do was grab the ball and it would be all over. Instead, he punched the ball back to the three-point line, right into the hands of a man they call Big Shot Bob. If Ori hadn't have made that shot, the series would be over, and the Lakers knew it. However, in Game 5, the Kings didn't roll over and collapse. When Shaq fouled out late in the game,
here's Bibby going at O'Neal, and a foul. O'Neal's fouled out.
Mike Bibby drained a jumper that sealed the game for Sacramento, who now had a 3-2 lead in the series.
So Bibby has the open shot.
In Game 6, despite a heroic effort from Shaq and Kobe, who combined for 72 points, the Kings were still a better team, and they should have won the game and advanced to the finals. But they didn't, because the Lakers played with 3 extra guys in gray.
Lakers hoping to take it back to Sacramento for Game 7. Webber called for the offensive foul. That's number 5 on Webber.
And this is a terrible call.
In the fourth quarter, the Lakers shot 27 free throws, compared to just 9 for the Kings. The worst call was in the final seconds, with the Lakers up by 1 when Kobe elbowed Mike Bibby in the face. Bibby was bleeding, but the refs called a foul on him, and the Lakers won the game.
Could have been an offensive foul. A big break for the Lakers as Bibby took a shot from Bryant.
In Game 7, there were 19 lead changes and 16 ties, and with 13 seconds remaining, LA was up by 1 point, and the best shooter in the series, Stojakovic, had a wide-open shot.
Giving it up, Stojakovic for 3. Airball.
He airballed it. Bibby managed to send the game to overtime with late free throws, but in the extra time, the Kings had nothing left in the tank. Sacramento kept missing, and the Lakers escaped with a victory, advancing to another NBA Finals.
And here's Fisher in the front court, gives to Devin George. The game is over, and the series goes to the world champion Los Angeles Lakers.
And just like the 2000 series against Indiana, the 2002 Finals were anticlimactic. The New Jersey Nets won 52 games in the horrible Eastern Conference, and their leading scorer was Kenyon Martin, who averaged 14.9 points per game. Even though the Nets were a well-balanced team, they couldn't do anything against Shaq and Kobe. O'Neal averaged 36 and 12, while Kobe added 27, 6, and 5, and it was all over in 4 games.
The Los Angeles Lakers have made it 3 straight NBA championships.
The Lakers became only the 3rd franchise in NBA history to three-peat, and now the goal was 4. But if you thought there was drama with the Lakers before, what came next was theater at its finest. Shaq, who was playing with a hurt toe for the entire 2002 season, postponed his surgery until the final days of August, which left him unable to participate in training camp. Shaq missed the first month of the season with the infamous phrase, "I got hurt on company time, so I'm going to rehab on company time." And when he finally got ready to play, he wasn't really ready to play, because he had ballooned to nearly 400 pounds. While one part of of Kobe Bryant hated the big man for his lack of discipline, the other marveled at the opportunity to dominate without him. Without Shaq in the lineup, Kobe averaged 29 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2.5 steals, all of which were career highs. Bryant was in his 7th season, and despite still being only 24, he was as strong, as skilled, and as athletic as ever. Kobe reached his absolute basketball peak, and he wanted the world to see it. But without Shaq, and with the unchanged aging roster, the Lakers started the season with 3 wins and 9 losses. It was their worst start to a season in 36 years, as the Lakers played an ugly 1-on-5 brand of basketball, starring Kobe and 4 bystanders. With Shaq playing below his standard and team chemistry down the drain, Kobe decided to do what he knew best: score. In the middle of the season, the Lakers were hovering around 500, and Bryant went berserk. He scored 40 or more in 9 straight games, including 2 50-point games.
Has got 8 now. 9. Make it 9, excuse me. And now Kobe is tied with Michael Jordan for most consecutive 40-point games.
And Jackson called him into his office and said he needed to slow down in order to include Shaq into the offense. When he heard that, Kobe was livid.
Shaq comes back from injury and Phil goes, we're starting to lose the big fella. What do you mean? Well, he's not getting the attention. This 40-point streak is starting to kind of take away his fire to prove something, right? So I need you to start dialing it back. I'm like, what? We're going to lose him, and we need him in June. Okay, we have a game against the Clippers. It's a blowout game. I dumped the ball in the Shaq instead of shooting a wide open shot. The 40-point streak ended that night.
However, with some lineup tweaking and Shaq getting into shape, the Lakers caught their stride and finished the season with 50 wins, gearing up for another finals run. And in the first round against Kevin Garnett and the Timberwolves, it all seemed lovely in La La Land, with the Lakers winning the series in 6 games, behind 60 combined points from their 2 superstars. But in the next round, the Lakers encountered the best team in the regular season, the San Antonio Spurs, and their league MVP, Tim Duncan. After 4 games, the series was even, with 2 wins apiece. But in Game 5, despite a late Lakers rally and 36 points from Kobe, the Spurs eked out a 96-94 win.
Here's Ori for 3! Robinson with the rebound that was in and out!
And in Game 6, a blowout. Duncan destroyed the Lakers with 37 points and 16 rebounds, finally putting a stop to LA's reign over the NBA.
The San Antonio Spurs are headed to the Western Conference Finals, and the Lakers' run at the top of the NBA is over.
Following the season, Robert Horry signed with the Spurs, while Brian Shaw retired, and the Lakers replaced them with 2 superstars.
I'd like to introduce to the city of Los Angeles the newest Los Angeles Lakers, Gary Payton, Karl Malone.
Thus forming the first modern super team. Payton and Malone came largely because of Shaq, who had been recruiting the 2 players for several months, and they both took big pay cuts to join the Lakers. And despite those additions making them instant title favorites, this season was the toughest of them all during the Shaq and Kobe era. And the biggest reason for that is what occurred 1 week before the addition of Payton and Malone. On June 30th, 2003, Kobe Bryant flew to Colorado for an arthroscopic surgery, which he organized without the Lakers' knowledge. Upon arriving in Colorado, Kobe had relations with the receptionist in the hotel where he was staying. On July 1st, the same receptionist had accused him of sexual assault, and on July 18th, he was formally charged. 1 day later, Kobe held the toughest press conference of his life, with his wife Vanessa by his side, admitting in front of the world that he cheated on her, but that he was innocent of the assault and that everything was consensual.
I sit here in front of you guys, furious at myself for making a mistake of adultery. But I'm innocent. And together, my wife and I, and our family, we're going to fight these false accusations.
In the following months, media mayhem ensued over Kobe and the case in Colorado, and a lot of dirty laundry came out. The worst of all was Kobe saying that he should have done what Shaq does in these circumstances, just paid women not to say anything. When this information leaked, Shaq denied Kobe's claims, and any sort of relationship between them was now beyond salvation. Kobe missed the start of training camp, And when the reporters asked Shaq about Kobe and how does it feel not to have the full team there, O'Neal responded, "The full team is here." When Bryant finally showed up, he looked visibly shaken and not in the best shape because, for the first time in his life, basketball fell to second place. Throughout the preseason, Kobe and Shaq kept trash-talking each other, both on and off the court. Before the season started, Phil said they had to stop with the nonsense, especially with the media. And 24 hours later, Kobe did an interview with Jim Gray and unleashed all of his hatred for O'Neal.
He said the guy selling donuts at the 7-Eleven had more pride in his job than Shaq did. And this was the same interview that he had gone public calling him fat and lazy and that he had surgery on the organization's time and he would do it on company time instead of his time.
Furthermore, Kobe said it was pathetic that he publicly demanded a max deal when Peyton and Malone basically played for free. Kobe also said that he sacrificed so much of his game for Shaq and that they are not friends nor brothers, citing that a brother would call him after his Colorado situation, which Shaq didn't do. After this story got out, Shaq literally threatened to kill Kobe, and Kobe was willing to fight O'Neal as well.
I knew the fire that I lit. I knew what I said, and he knew what he said. You knew what you said. And you said, okay, this is it. It's coming to a head. We're gonna go in here. We're gonna be grown men about it. We're gonna fight it out. And then what comes out of it comes out of it. That's just is what it is at that point.
But then Brian Shaw, who was now retired but who always had an influence on both superstars, decided he needed to step in and calm everybody down. And with Bryant, Shaw was always direct.
Kobe, you don't really interact with us. At this point, he kind of kept to himself. We always went out to have drinks, have dinner, go to a club or what have you. And Kobe would never go. Right? Shaq always invited everybody over to his house for Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever it was. Kobe would never interact.
But when the season finally started, the Lakers were so much more talented than the rest of the NBA that they marched to a 20-5 start. And then Karl Malone got injured and missed 40 games. Rick Fox missed 44, Shaq was out for 15 games, and Kobe, who was in and out of the lineup due to his trial, missed 17. Still, amid the life-altering situation that could have gotten him incarcerated and ended his career, Kobe's resilience was fascinating. When the Lakers played against Denver at home, Kobe spent the entire day in the courtroom. He flew back to Los Angeles and got to the arena in the second quarter, only to score a game-winning shot, after which he collapsed in the locker room and had to receive an IV. For the season, Bryant led the Lakers in scoring with 24 points per game, including 5 rebounds and 5 assists. His defense was as good as ever, and he made the first All-Defensive Team, first team All-NBA, and finished 5th in voting for MVP. On the other hand, Shaq showed visible signs of slowing down. O'Neal was still very good, averaging 21.5 points, 11.5 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks per game, but the excess weight robbed him of the explosiveness and quickness he once possessed. Gary Payton butchered the triangle offense, often playing off instinct, killing the spacing. And outside of Derek Fisher, the Lakers' bench was extremely thin. But when the playoffs finally came, the Lakers had the number 2 seed, and their superstars were finally healthy. They got past the Rockets in 5 games and avenged the loss to the Spurs from the previous season, beating San Antonio in 6. In the conference finals, the Lakers played Minnesota with league MVP Kevin Garnett, but because they lost their point guard Sam Cassell, the Timberwolves couldn't beat the Lakers, who advanced to their 4th finals in 5 years. And in the finals against Detroit, many fans believed that the Pistons would get swept due to a lack of talent. But just like the Lakers themselves, they underestimated the Pistons, one of the best defensive teams of all time. In Game 1, Shaq dominated, with 34 points on 13 for 16 shooting, as the Pistons chose not to double-team him and guard him exclusively with a 6'9" Ben Wallace. But because they weren't used to playing without their biggest advantage, getting open shots and cuts from O'Neal getting doubled, the rest of the Lakers struggled, especially Kobe. Bryant shot just 10 for 27, while the rest of the Lakers scored just 16 points total, and the Pistons won 87-75. The Lakers bounced back in Game 2 with 62 combined points from Bryant and O'Neal, but that would be their final win in the series. Detroit killed the Lakers with their full-court defense, and they forced Bryant into taking tough shots. And Kobe got baited in, taking 23 shots per game but making just 38%, and a horrible 17% from 3. Because of an injury to Karl Malone and a disaster series from Gary Payton, the Lakers had no chance, and Detroit won the championship 4-1.
That the Detroit Pistons have just shocked the Los Angeles Lakers. 100-87 to win the NBA title.
Shortly after the Game 5 loss, Bryant sat across from a teammate and declared, "I ain't playing with that mother effer again." That mother effer was Shaquille O'Neal. Kobe was willing to move from LA and had already planned to request a trade when owner Jerry Buss traded Shaq to Miami, thus ending an 8-year partnership between O'Neal and Bryant. It was a wild ride, filled with controversy, but in the end, it worked, and Kobe and Shaq will always be remembered as the most dominant 1-2 punch in NBA history.
Bryant to Shaq!
Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, we have another one for you right here.